For today's headlines, fuel price hikes, Rody action scene. Moscow seeks Beijing help amid biting sanctions. Workers want 1,007 pesos minimum NCR wage. Strong quakes rock Philippines and Indonesia. Electric PUV allocation eyed. Former rebels undergo skills training. Gaming giants exit Russian market. Deadly strikes rock Ukraine despite talks with Russia. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and this is Tribune News on Q. Today is March 15, 2022, and these are the latest news of this Tuesday morning. The vulnerable transport sector is again the most affected by the new round of hikes in local pump prices of petroleum products, with diesel getting hit by the biggest double-digit increase. Pinagkaisang samahan ng Chuper and Operator Nationwide or Piston Chair Emeritus George San Mateo said Monday that public utility jeepney or PUJ drivers are estimated to immensely lose about 745 pesos every day. Effective March 15 to 21, motorists will have to shell out an additional 13.15 pesos per liter of diesel, 7.10 pesos per liter of gasoline, and 10.50 pesos per every liter of kerosene. In an interview on Monday, Department of Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi confirmed that the President Rodrigo Duterte called for a meeting with his agency and the DOF to discuss the suspension of fuel tax. Cusi said Duterte will ask for the possible deferment of tax to provide economic relief to affected consumers on March 15 today. San Mateo also warned that the spike in prices will result in higher inflation because the movement of fuel rates will also drive up the cost of basic food commodities. In a statement on Monday, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Governor Benjamin Jokno said the government is carefully monitoring the pass-through of international prices to domestic inflation. Considered a pariah for its invasion of Ukraine, Russia has turned to its biggest ally, China, for military and economic aid, amid a U.S. warning that Beijing would face severe consequences if it helps Moscow evade sanctions. U.S. officials told media that part of Russia's requests was for military equipment as its forces continue to pound even civilian targets in Ukraine in Russian President Vladimir Putin's effort to take the capital Kyiv. Moscow also asked Beijing for economic assistance against the crippling sanctions imposed against it by most of the Western world, the New York Times said, again citing anonymous officials. The officials declined to explain exactly what Russia had requested or whether China had responded, according to the reports. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Washington told multiple outlets that they have never heard of that when asked about the alleged requests. The reports came just a few hours after the White House announced a high-level U.S. delegation would meet with a top Chinese official in Rome Monday. Russian authorities, facing potential economic calamity as Western sanctions take hold, have threatened foreign companies hoping to withdraw from the country with arrests and asset seizures, the Wall Street Journal reported Sunday. With prices of fuel and basic commodities poised to increase anew due to the ongoing Ukraine crisis, the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, or TUCP, has sought for a wage increase double the prevailing minimum wage in the National Capital Region. Yesterday, the TUCP officially logged their petition with the National Capital Region Regional Wages and Productivity Board, an attached agency of the Department of Labor and Employment in Manila, asking for 1,007 pesos minimum wage for Metro Manila from the previous 537 pesos, an uptick of 470 pesos per day. In a press conference, TUCP President Raymond Democrito Mendoza revealed that hunger and malnutrition are now plaguing the more than 5 million minimum wage earners and their families in NCR. He pointed out that since November 2018, or when the last wage order was issued, prices of gasoline, diesel, and kerosene increased by as high as 41%, 24.51%, and 29.37% respectively. Moreover, the labor group said that the present monthly take-home pay of 12,843.48 pesos is far below the 16,625 pesos per month poverty threshold for a family of 5 in the NCR. Before arriving at a conclusion, the NCR-RTWB will call parties, including employers and labor leaders, for a tripartite consultation in the coming weeks to know their concerns over the wage hike petition. Meanwhile, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion stressed that the wage hike petition is not possible, especially for micro, small, and medium enterprises who comprise more than 90% of the total businesses in the country. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Mahalin natin ang Pilipinas.
Lilipad na ang agila, magtatanggol, magmamahal sa ating bansa.
We shall lie, soar, fight, and win!
Ayon sa World Bank, tinatayang 4.8 hanggang 12.7 milyong toneladang plastik ang sumisira sa ating karagatan taon-taon. Halos 80% nito ang nanggagaling sa Asya. Sa buong mundo, ang Pilipinas ay itinuturing na pangatlong pinakamalaking nagdudulot ng polusyon sa karagatan. Ang nakalalasong kemikal mula sa plastik ay di lamang kumukontamina sa karagatan, ngunit pati na rin sa hanging nilalanghap at lupang ginagalawan natin. Kung magpapatuloy ang kasalukuyang paggamit ng single-use plastics, sa taong 2050, mas marami na ang plastik kumpara sa mga isda na nasa ating mga karagatan. Dahil dito, mas pinaiigting ng pamahalaan ang kampanya laban sa paggamit ng single-use plastics. Nanganganib ang ating planeta. Iisa lang ito. Lahat tayo ay dapat kumilos sa lalong madaling panahon upang pangalagaan ito. Tama na ang plastikan.
With Globe, our steps can lead us to millions of doors opening, millions of paths unfolding, and millions of reasons to keep going. Now's the time to be with the network that gets better every day for you.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM.
Oh, vaccination, isolation. Gotta keep up with my nutrition. Gotta maintain my body condition. Then I can take my vaccination. What do I choose? What do I take? As long as it is not a fake. AstraZeneca, Moderna, BioNTech, even Sinovac, okay na. Pababakuna ka ba? 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 Vaccination for the nation, no more isolation. With vaccination, pababakuna ka ba? 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 Paturok, paturok, paturok.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM.
We're back on Tribune News on Q. Strong earthquakes rocked neighbor countries Indonesia and the Philippines on Monday, but with no damage recorded on both sides of Southeast Asia. A magnitude 6.4 earthquake rocked some areas in Luzon at 5:05 a.m., according to the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS. It said damage was not expected, and they added that the quake, with a depth of 29 kilometers, was recorded 107 kilometers north, 77 degrees west of Lubang Island in occidental Mindoro. Intensity 3 was reported in Quezon City, Taguig City, Mandaluyong City, Makati City, and Intensity 2 was reported in Talisay, Batangas. And now in Indonesia, a 6.7 magnitude earthquake hit off the west coast of Sumatra Island, the United States Geological Survey said. Officials in both countries said there were no immediate reports of casualties or damage, and there was no tsunami threat from either quakes. The one off Indonesia hit at 4:06 a.m. at a depth of 21 kilometers, with its epicenter 167 kilometers west of Sumatra's Pariaman City. Indonesia's National Disaster Mitigation Agency said in a statement that the earthquake was strongly felt for 1 minute and residents panicked. It was felt most strongly on North Sumatra's Nias and Hibala Islands, which are not densely populated and where people often live in wooden houses. Meanwhile, Narvacan Ilocos Sur Mayor Luis Chavit Singson is keen on providing electric public utility vehicles to different parts of the country in a bid to cushion the impact of skyrocketing fuel prices in the country. Singson, who is also the president of the League of Municipalities of the Philippines, disclosed that he had already ordered electric PUV from Korea, saying that his program is eyeing to help drivers earn more as fuel prices continue to increase due to the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. He added that he will personally go to Korea to follow up on his electric PUV orders and noted that the first batch of the electric vehicles will be utilized in Metro Manila. The Narvacan mayor also said that qualified drivers and operators can avail of the electric PUV and stressed that he will coordinate with the local government units for the smooth delivery and distribution of the electric vehicles. Singson earlier said that he will donate 15 billion peso cash from his own pocket to the public by putting up various livelihood projects and commercial facilities, such as hotels that can generate employment. He added that these will be a soft loan for the drivers with down payment and interest, and that he just wants to help them. The 71st Infantry Battalion recently facilitated basic skills training on commercial baking for women in Sitio Tubalina, Barangay Alfonso Gregorio del Pilar, Ilocos Sur, in line with the celebration of National Women's Month. The program is in coordination with the Department of Trade and Industry of DTI Ilocos Sur through their Pangkabuhayan sa Pagbangon at Ginhawa project, and during the activity, 20 female family members of former New People's Army supporters, together with female Kaibigan troopers, underwent training on making pandesal, ensaymada, and muffins. It also aimed to empower women to improve their knowledge and skills on commercial baking and how to create and manage a small business with their capacity. Aside from the training, DTI Ilocos Sur handed over a 2-layer baking oven gas type and starter kits to the members of Tubalina Women's Baked Goods and Pastries Association and turned over a meat processing machine to the members of the community. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
We shall lie, soar, fight, and win!
Araneta City, home to the country's first indoor shopping mall, the world's original Thrilla, and the first ever Bini Bini pageant. Now a place for your first win, your first hatch, your first home, your first big break, your first date, and even your first love. Araneta City, the city of firsts.
Manong Joe po,
At Ate Maita,
good news! Muling bumaba ang overall electricity rates. Halos 12 centavos per kilowatt hour ang decrease ngayong buwan.
ngayong Valentine's Month, nakakamiss mag-family movie date. May big screen, hot popcorn, at malamig na sinihan. Pero syempre, mas safe to stay at home. May bright idea si Engineer Joel para dyan.
Keep your loved ones safe. Mag-cine experience at home. Ang Smart TV, 80 centavos lang per hour ang konsumo. At para kumpleto, mag-popcorn at aircon. Kung virtual date naman, 18 centavos per hour ang paggamit ng laptop.
Kahit magkalayo, together tayo.
How sweet! Safe na, cost-efficient pa.
Hanggang sa susunod na
Meralco Advisory.
Every time I'm on the road, I can expect high performance from Phoenix Fuels. Now with Pulse technology, delivers enhanced power and acceleration to make every trip come alive.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. Three of the biggest gaming companies in the world, Sony, Microsoft, and Activision Blizzard, have suspended their respective operations in Russia following its bloody invasion of neighboring Ukraine last month. In a statement, Microsoft, the creator of Windows operating system and Xbox, condemned the Russian military campaign, triggering its decision to pull out of one of the largest markets in the world. Aside from suspension of its operations in Russia, Microsoft also stated that it will help Ukraine in its cybersecurity. Sony, meanwhile, has suspended all of its software and hardware sales operations in Russia, including the distribution of the highly coveted PlayStation 5. It delayed the launch of its much-awaited racing game Gran Turismo 7 and pledged a sizable donation to the victims of war. In other news, Russia unleashed a barrage of airstrikes Monday on cities across Ukraine as the warring sides traded blame for a deadly attack in a pro-Moscow separatist region, but made little headway in ceasefire talks. With Russian forces threatening to take full control of several major cities, the fourth round of talks failed to deliver a breakthrough on the 19th day of the invasion, with negotiations to resume on Tuesday. The United Nations estimates almost 2.8 million people have fled Ukraine since President Vladimir Putin launched a full-scale land-on-air assault on February 24. It has recorded more than 600 civilian deaths, including dozens of children, though the true toll could be far higher. Putin's effort to control the narrative over the deadly conflict suffered a blow Monday when a dissenting employee entered the studio during Russia's most-watched evening news broadcast, holding up a poster saying, "Stop the war, don't believe the propaganda." An opposition protest monitor says the woman, an editor at the tightly controlled state broadcaster Channel 1, was detained following the highly unusual breach of security. And on the opposing side of the information war, congressional leaders in Washington announced that Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky would deliver a high-profile virtual address to both chambers on Wednesday, as U.S. lawmakers seek to ratchet up pressure on the White House to take a tougher line over Russia's invasion. And that wraps up the stories this morning, but before we go, we would like to thank the following: SM Store, Araneta City, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, Empire Eastland Holdings Incorporated, and Overseas Community Affairs Council Member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista on Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its vibrant community, Tribune, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tercito are available on our community Viber.